All right. Ready?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, March 31st, been a while since I've been here. March 31st meeting of the Irving, Las Colinas Rotary Club. Our president is en route, but we're going to go ahead and stand and get started. So I'm going to ask Bill LeVar to come forward. And Bill, you give us any update on anything we need to be updated on, and then open us in prayer.
Okay. I want to remind everyone, since we're not having this meeting next week, having a night meeting, that a week from Saturday is the first time we build flags. And a lot of the people that I've entered upon in the past have conveniently said that they've scheduled themselves out of town. So I'm going to need help to build flags, 9 o'clock. And Mara will send out the information, the address. It's the Big Curve building next to the police station off Riverside. So that's the main thing. Richard, we're glad to have you back. We've lifted your family up in our prayer this next week, and we continue to remember you in your walls. Would you join me in the spirit of prayer? Eternal God, we give you thanks for the blessings of this day, for the rain which fell upon us, and not too much damage this time. Freshen the earth as it freshens us. We give you thanks for the work of this club. We give you thanks for these young adults here today to bring to us their response to the 4-way test, that we might learn something, and we're thankful for that. We ask your spirit to be upon us, to bless our work in the community, to bless this food, to take it to the nourishment of our bodies, and to keep us this day in your peace. In the name of Christ, amen.
Thank you, Bill. Remain standing. We want to welcome back Richard Raymond, who was out last week with his wife for his mother-in-law's funeral. Richard back there. Richard, will you lead us in the pledge?
Richard, put your hand over your heart and repeat. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shane Webb has agreed to lead us in song today.
All right, will you please join me in singing God Bless America? God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you, very nice.
Yes, we're ready for some baseball. You may be seated. We're going to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests. Val, are you doing that? You're walking this way? Before you do, I've got a special guest. I'm going to ask my guests to stand. And those of you already greeted him, but Doug Fox, past president of this club, is with us today. So Doug, we're glad you're here. We miss you very much. And Bill LeVar has already recruited to work on flags, so we're maybe. All right, now we have some busy Rotarians and guests.
We do have one guest today, Doug, Alfred Walker from Farmers Insurance. If you'd like to stand and tell a little bit about yourself.
You're welcome.
All right.
How's everyone doing? I'm Alfred Walker with Farmers Insurance, here locally in the Irving, Texas area, kind of over in the hospital district. heard so much about the group and glad that I can be here today. So thanks for having me.
We do have several guests here today. It is the four-way test. We have two speakers, students from local high schools, and we're going to invite them after the speeches to introduce themselves and their guests. So we have speaker 1 and speaker 2 that will be talking in a little bit.
We're going to do a presentation momentarily. I'm getting that X from Rick Quincy back there. Okay, we'll do it in a few moments. But Richard Raymond wanted to make a couple of comments to the public.
Yeah, I thank everybody at Rotary for all their concern and everything, for the flowers and all plants and everything. It's been really beautiful. So thanks everybody for keeping us in their prayers.
Well, most of you know today's our four-way speech contest. That's going to be coordinated by Val. So Val, I'll turn the mic over to you. Let's start our program. Let's give all of our visiting Rotarians and guests a warm welcome.
So today we have the annual four-way test speech contest, where we invite the local high schools in to have representatives give a speech on any topic they would like for with the common theme of the four-way test applied to it. So let's see. The four-way test was developed by Herbert J. Hoover as a central thread to any topic on which the student may choose to speak. From the earliest days of the organization, Rotaries were concerned with promoting high ethical standards in their professional lives. The four-way test, which was created in 1932 by Rotarian Herbert J. Taylor, when he was asked to take charge of a company that was facing bankruptcy. This test for employees to follow in their business and professional lives became the guide for sales, production, advertising, and all relations with dealers and customers. And the survival of the company is credited to this simple philosophy. Adopted by Rotary in 1943, the four-way test has been translated into more than 100 languages and published in thousands of ways. Now I'd like to invite student number 1 to come up and give their speech.
Imagine this. It's spring 2016 and my 5th grade class and I are choosing our courses for middle school. The choices we make today will determine the next 3 years of our lives. As I look over the never-ending list of course subjects, I can't help but be bored thinking about algebra topics and 6th grade English language. However, as I look down towards the list of electives that I could take, I'm ecstatic looking at the possible harmonious ones that I could take, being band, choir, or orchestra. When we finally get to the point to choose those part of our electives, I hear one of my classmates ask, "Do we have to take a music?" To which the counselors replied, "Yes, you do," which was then followed by the most blaring and obnoxious sounds of moans and groans to ever be muttered by a room of 5th graders. It occurred to me that I was exasperated by this response, thinking why would anybody not want to have a period of music in their school day to interrupt the constant education and learning? It occurred to me that not everybody had the same musical exposure that I had had as a child. Growing up, my dad was a middle school band director for 25 years, my mom was constantly singing, and I started piano lessons at the age of 6. In my opinion, I heavily benefited from having a musical childhood and upbringing. It taught me good performance skills and things that I've taken into my daily life. Musical exposure is a concept that I would like to examine today using the four-way Rotary test, asking and answering the following questions. Is it the truth that engaging in a musical experience benefits a person's personal growth? Is it fair to require every student in our community to participate in a musical extracurricular? Will taking part in a musical extracurricular support better friendships and goodwill? And finally, will music, despite attitudes like my peers at the beginning of this speech, benefit all involved? The first question, is it the truth that engaging in a musical experience benefits a person's personal growth? The truth is, yes. Musical experiences are a foundational part of anyone's growing. Music can help people find connections with each other, whether that be through the style or genre of music, or bonding over genius lyricists like Taylor Swift. One of Maslow's levels of his hierarchy of needs is love and belonging. Through this is the idea of finding a group of people who you share similar attributes with. For example, a couple will have a favorite love song that they like to dance to when they're out, or a friend group will have a specifically curated playlist that they like to listen to when they're getting ready for a party. Music can help satisfy this level of love and belonging that every human desires. The second question, is it fair to require every student in our community to participate in a musical extracurricular? Here in Irving ISD, it is a requirement of every middle and high school student to have at least 2 semesters of a musical extracurricular. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a music class, it could be an arts class. However, since there are 3 music classes, band, choir, and orchestra, and 1 art, most people end up doing band, choir, or orchestra. Now, because it is a requirement, most of the time, the people who are placing these classes don't really want to be there, which obviously puts a damper on the experience. Some parents would argue that it is entirely unfair to have a student required to take a class that they don't want to be in. And I would say that that might be a reflection of the parents' bad experience in said class. Some also would argue that it takes away time from things like athletics, academics, and other extracurriculars, to which I would agree. It is a huge sacrifice of your time, and it definitely takes away from those things. However, requiring music guarantees an opportunity. As I said before, my dad was a middle school band director for 25 years, and some of his best musicians were children who were not originally planning to be in band. This shows that music is an opportunity in disguise. Question number 3, will taking part in a musical extracurricular support better friendships and goodwill? I will say, as a junior in high school, some of my most favorite and memorable experiences have been with the friends that I made in band. Even as a middle schooler, the friendships that I made in 6th grade have lasted over 5 years and have supported me in everything that I've done. The musical friendships that I've had have generated great conversations, meaningful connections, and the ability to make music, which is the best thing. Even as a middle schooler, my middle school friends and I bonded over the humiliating experience of lugging our instruments home on every single weekend and practicing every single day after school. However, we accepted it as part of the responsibility of being a musician. That is one thing that I would like to add to this question. Musical experiences not only promote better friendships and goodwill, but it creates a sense of responsibility that is crucial to learn at a young age. The final question, question number 4. Will music, despite the attitude of peers like my friend at the beginning of the speech, benefit all involved? While music may not be everyone's first choice over things like football, volleyball, or maintaining a 4.0 GPA, it definitely helps everyone involved. Music improves memory, it improves your hand-eye coordination, and it encourages good practicing habits. It can bridge the gap across generations and cultures, which is something that is extremely important in today's world. Musical ensembles provide a way to make good friends and have a sense of community. And while it does take away time from other things, it doesn't always have to be so. In my musical community alone, we have 2 class valedictorians and 2 varsity football players. Participating and being exposed to a musical extracurricular not only starts your journey off on the right foot, but it starts it off on the right note. Thank you.
Great job from student number 1. While we do have some judges throughout the room that are going to do their assessment, well, we give them some time to do that. We'll have some announcements. Let's see. I attended the Rotary weekend last Saturday, and there were quite a bit of people that were there. They also mentioned the District 5810 conference is coming up April 22nd and 23rd. There's bowling at Instack in the evening, an hour and a half of bowling, ropes course, laser tag, laser maze, rock climbing wall, bumper cars, and over 100 video games. They asked us to consider putting a team together. We did get board approval for a couple of people to be sponsored by our club. So if you have interest in attending either Friday night or Saturday, there's a luncheon. They're sharing the accomplishments of the clubs in the district for the year. And then that evening for dinner, there's also new foundation level contributors being celebrated, as well as presenting awards to outstanding clubs. So if you have any interest in the Friday evening, Saturday, or Saturday evening, please let us know so we can get you signed up. Also, we had, let's see. For next year, the conference, the District 5810 conference is going to be a cruise in the Western Caribbean. This was just recently rolled out. I think it's the Rotary Club of Carrollton Farmers Branch. It's medical and school projects in Rotan, Honduras during the April 2023 District 5810 conference cruise. So there's going to be the option for excursions. I think it's April 23rd through April 30th. It's a 7-night cruise. And that way they have, you could either do the excursions or you could do the service projects that they're going to have 2 of them at different stops. I think Mexico is one and then Honduras is the other. So that's something that's still being figured out, but they do have reservations for, I think, 50 rooms at this time, and they've already got several people signed up. Also, as far as the grants, they have, there was grant training on Saturday. They recalculated all the way to how to calculate the grants. So there's going to be definitely some adjustment to the grant money that we have available for this year as well as going forward. So we will be getting more information about that. So how are the judges? Okay, we got 2, 3, okay, looks good. All right, speaker number 2, please.
And become death, destroyer of worlds. Tell me, is it not true? Waking dragons of eastern rising suns, bringing that long fear dust upon the west. Imperial handprints and scratches that in the aftermath of that dead colossus one can shut at the touchdown. Coup d'etats into office and puppets to invisible strings, a far cry south of our great experiment. Those stage-worthy dichotomies have long been enshrined within human narrative. Exceptionalism in the presence of the inferior is deep-rooted within us. Scares and terrors akin to that of the many red and white are notable in showing what we do when presented with the mere idea of a threat. Amassing entire peoples into this monolithic and damnable being, solely driven by its hatred for what one's nation has broken sweat and spilled blood to create. It's a narrative we've never known an alternative to, forever having been shrouded within a dense smoke and performed under that amphitheater sunless sky. I don't reckon we've been oblivious of that prideful unease upon seeing and hearing the blur of its enactment, without ever really knowing of its true nature. Really, a moment hardly goes by without having that little bit of us feel almost threatened by this thing. I mean, we worked hard to build our nations atop the world, atop the ruins of those who fell to that nameless mist. Chaos born of unbridled hate. I mean, it only makes sense we don't want to protect it from the same fate our legs stand upon. But for a moment, the smoke dissipates. Cracks along the mirror surface left barren and unhidden. Flames dwindling down and a trembling silence sets in. A shattered visage sees itself. Why have we withheld that which is fair? You see, that gray charade falters once the light begins to flicker and the show almost stops. Theatricality can only stand for so long. concealing an unknown dread under a veil of showmanship. These narratives, stories built upon golden laced fictions come true by the overwhelming conviction of the nations beholden, have erected an atmosphere of confidence and confusion, crippling the ability to think twice of just what exactly may lie below, intended to elicit a particular feeling that allows one to condone or even promote the wretch we see before us, a preconceived notion that had never been of one's own. For so long, we have seen cities brought to rubble and countrysides left in craters as means justifiable in achieving an empty end, perpetuating the cycle where, without a single paused breath, we ask, who's next? Often sowing the seeds for a greater evil than the one we claimed to have existed beforehand, even if the lesser never had been so. In an act of cognitive dissonance, we, believing there to be a greater good amidst the horror we fashioned, we had told ourselves that it was the good fight, that inaction would be on par with treason. Many had their suspicions. Many saw right through Washington's, Beijing's, or Moscow's hollow rhetoric, yet whose voices would only be heeded decades later. Unfortunately, hindsight doesn't resurrect the dead. Among the broken and soot-covered glass, we see less the playing out of human nature and more so a mangling of principle for some abstract abomination, in service not to us, but to a vision built upon truthful things come shameless lies. If the alternative to this insanity is considered, that fear of goodwill's beneficiary keeps us hesitant, a fear of just what exactly may come of such an unknown. But as that cacophonous silence echoes off into the distance, we are paralyzed, staring back at us the reflection we've been and still are. For so long, we have seen ourselves to be in this perpetual us and them standoff that we've come to hold it as sacred beyond restraint, a sanctimonious display of a nation too concerned with a sanctimonious display of a world too concerned with maintaining some purpose for its dealings that it never gave a second thought as to why such should be. In this supposed era of history's end, we see the idea of a long peace come undone, threatening to disturb the tension we've come to call stability, offering either self-obliteration or a chance at that fear-inducing unknown. Think, it's been an active struggle to contain that longing chaos we've declared our hatred for yet grown so fond of, tempered only through the muffled, maddening beating of vile drums and the thin, monotonous whine of cursed flutes. So far, we've settled on playing around with the mere notion of war and accepting the lives of the sorry few as payment, seeing it as a short-term solution adequate enough in delaying the old one's awakening. But that music will eventually come to a stop, no matter how low we kneel. The bonfire is snuffed out and the ashes settled on that blood-soaked sand. The act let up and the fool left speechless. If this world ever is to see a sunlit sky free of a midnight's arrival, we need to let that show in. Let the mirrors be unto us a deliverance we've yet to meet. Only then will we be able to tend to long waiting wounds, left untreated out of fear of drifting away from that all too familiar burden, bringing an end to humanity's affliction. At last showing an unknown mercy to our kin bearing distant flags and yet familiar flesh. It's funny, really. We had been the very thing we sort of fight until the bitter end. Perfect reflections of one another to vanity's amusement. Should we finally say no more and seek a way to end this madness, some guidance and a warning. Mátalo con remordimiento, hadalala al galimo, vineo no tolai, Dios sin velora. should we instead, once again, kick off the rhythm and relight the fires, ultimately repeating a history that only knows suffering and ignorance towards the voices of its victims? Perhaps then we shall meet that ancient being. Finally, to wallow in reluctance and cry out bravo, for then we have seen the destroyer of worlds. Thank you.
Good job. Speaker number 2. One of the students will be eligible to go on to districts. So we will get you more information on that as the time comes. Are there any announcements? Okay. Rick, sure, come on.
I can do it from here. Thank you, Madam Chair. Great news. Your flag program has 1,020 flags paid for. Two remaining. So hats off to Kathy, Bob, the rest of the team. Great job. We sent out an email last Saturday. We were at 9:05. We were at 905. Today we're at 1,020. So Kathy, congratulations. Great job on wording the email flag. I think you said buy your flag now, it's going to be out of luck. Not as well worked. So congratulations, a lot of hard work. We got more work to do. And we do have our recipient here when you get ready.
And I think we can thank Bill LeVar for doing all those phone calls. We can thank Bill LeVar for doing all those phone calls. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We will be participating in making meals for Family Promise, and we'll have Shane talk about that in a minute. But I'll hand the microphone over to Robert also.
Madam President, come on up and join us here. We're glad you could be here. Crystal, how are you? Good. We're glad you're at Rotary today. And this is an exciting opportunity we have to present some scholarship checks. Most of you know that back at the end of my term, we established, or we moved some funds over to create the Elaine Free Scholarship for a student at Barbara Cardwell. And then just a few months ago, we established the John Boyle Scholarship, which is going to be a scholarship going to a recipient of Irving High School. And so Crystal's here today. You want to say something about the event coming up at the end of the month? Check from there.
Robert has never turned down an open mic. Yes, so very excited this year to offer 6 Rotary scholarships. So kudos to this group and all of you. Really excited for that. And I love that we are expanding to Barbara Cardwell. It's really neat to be able to tell those kids this year that they have another scholarship opportunity for them. Because most of our scholarships are for the other high schools, and so it's nice to add that to our mix. And then the fun of adding an extra scholarship for John Boyle. When I told Kitty Boyle, she was beside herself. So I want y'all to know that she's very, very appreciative of that honor. And you guys, recognizing all of the efforts that John did in this community. So thank you for that. So our Breakfast with Stars is coming up. Can't believe it's already here, April 26th. It'll be at 9 a.m. at the Irving Convention Center back in person. Yay! Yeah. Yes, really excited. They saw their peers the past 2 years have to learn over virtual Zoom if they were receiving scholarships. So it's really exciting to actually have them in person, have their families there, and all of their supporters that have helped them get to that point. So I invite all of you to come, and Rotary's working on the table, but let's come celebrate these kids. For those of you that have read scholarship, that's cutting me off, scholarship applications, you know that these kids have been through so much. They share a lot, Shane already said, they share a lot in those essays with us of the challenges that they've overcome in their lives. They're just the young, ripe age of 17, 18 years old. So we want to show them that the community supports them and that we believe in them and that they have a bright future ahead of them. So it means a lot. I know y'all probably feel like, it's an hour and a half of my time, what does it matter? It matters a lot. We hear that every year for the past 35 years of Breakfast of Stars. Every student says, whoa, this whole crowd came out for me. Yes, they did. So thank you for that. I think today's a special day, and I heard that we haven't done anything yet for the special day. Are we saving that?
Well, you know, we're saving it for this moment, I think.
I think we're saving it for that moment.
What is the
moment.
special thing that's on the calendar?
Someone is turning 38 today, and his name is Rick Lindsay.
Wait a minute, is it a four-way test?
Is it the truth? He has the checks in his hands for the kids, so I have to say 38, right? Once he hands me the checks, I'll tell you his real age. But should we sing for Rick real quick?
All right, wait a minute, oh, you want the mic?
No. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rick. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to Rick. Last year, I don't know how he reaches every year for his birthday on a Thursday, but. Thank you all, thank you very much. Well, it is a pleasure and honor for me to present this check to Crystal and the Irving Schools Foundation for to get us started on the 2 new scholarships. Outstanding. Thank you to this Rotary Club and your work on the flags and the board for your commitment to helping us do that. So Crystal, on behalf, Mike. Absolutely. Thank you, Bob, and also congratulations, great award you received last Monday evening. Patty Landers Caperton emceed and coordinated that event from the Lucina Club. So the Legacy Award went to Irving Schools Foundation, and Pat did a great job of talking about it, also talking about one of our members, Dr. Elaine Freeze. So congratulations on being acknowledged. And so we look forward to the 26th. It's going to be a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
2 minutes. So you're up. You're up. What do you want to talk about today?
Val ready?
She said 2 minutes. So how'd you hit it this morning? We'll just kind of make up something.
Shake hands.
I wish, no.
Shake hands.
Working, an appointment went over, so I apologize for being late. Had to take care of the customer.
Well, Robert just stepped in there, Shane, let us. Yes, sir, what's up? Okay.
Excellent. Real quick, we are thankful that this Rotary Club is also helping out with Family Promise. So if you signed up to do a meal, please check your email. We still have 2 families that we're helping out, but one of the families has changed, so the number of people in one of the families will be slightly different. So please, if you're preparing meals for Family Promise, note that, and I'm so excited that we're helping out with that and contributing money to take care of their other meals during that week that we are sponsoring. Also, I'm thankful that we have not only our speakers today, but they brought with them some very special guests. So if you would real briefly stand up, we want to thank and honor you for being here to support your students. Yes, I'm gonna give our speakers the microphone so they can introduce who's here supporting it. And please also introduce yourselves, correct? I can do that now.
Hello, my name is Isaac Arredondo. I'm from Irving High, and this is my coach of 2 years for academic decathlon, Mr. Newman, and counselor at Irving High, Ms. Estrada, both doing tremendous work to keep our school afloat.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Morgan, and I'm a junior at MacArthur High School. This is my teacher, Miss Phelan. She was my teacher last year. She's been coaching me through this journey. And then this is my grandfather, Patrick Shields. This is this is my mom, Ellen Morgan, and then my aunt, Deborah Morgan. Yay!
We do have the results from the judges. We will do the second place first. That goes to Isaac Arredondo. Certificate of participation and a check for $200. Congratulations. Our first place winner that will go on to the districts to represent our club is Sarah Morgan. And you come up, Sarah. We have the certificate of participation as well as a check for $400.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everyone who participated. It was, it's always a great time to hear from the students of Irving. Appreciate it. Good time.
Thank you, Val. Let's give a round of appreciation to Val. She did great. And also a huge thank you to both of the students and family members and friends coming to support you. And you both did a tremendous job and have a tremendous future ahead of you. So thank you. In closing, are there any announcements? No noon meeting next week. We will not meet at noon next week. We will meet in the evening from 5 to 7 for a networking social. Hopeful that you'll bring some prospective members that we can help them to appreciate what Rotary is all about. We will not be able to meet here on April the 21st. April the 21st, the club is closed to a PGA tournament. And I have a suggestion. Shane has offered to accommodate the new meeting at his church. And we'll reach out and get a vote on that and see how everyone feels about maybe meeting at a different location on the 21st. And now we'll have the 4-way test by Mr. Ed McCarty. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, Ed. What can I do to deserve that? Okay, please join me in the 4-way test of the thanks I do. First,
Is it true?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill?
fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and have a blessed week.
Hey, Christine.